You don't owe anyone an explanation. Not for your choices, not for your goals, not for the way you live your life. And the moment you truly understand that, the moment it sinks all the way down into your bones, everything changes. Most people spend their entire lives defending themselves to people who honestly don't even matter. They shrink themselves, they over-explain, they apologize for who they are. And none of it makes them feel better. It just makes them feel smaller. If that sounds familiar, stay with me, because the next few minutes might be the most important thing you hear all week. The ancient Stoics figured something out thousands of years ago that most people today still haven't grasped. They figured out that the biggest prison a person can live in isn't made of steel or concrete, it's made of other people's opinions. And the key to getting out of that prison, you stop explaining yourself. You stop justifying your existence. You just live, powerfully, quietly, deliberately. Let's break down exactly how they did it. 10 lessons straight from the Stoic masters themselves that will completely change the way you move through the world. The first lesson comes directly from Marcus Aurelius, a man who ran an entire empire and still found time to write one of the most powerful books ever put to paper. He wrote that you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. What he's really saying is that your peace of mind is not something other people get to control. When you stop explaining yourself to others, you're making a declaration. You're saying, my inner world belongs to me. Nobody gets to walk in there and rearrange the furniture just because they don't understand your choices. That's the first shift. Protecting your mental space like it's the most valuable thing you own. Because it is. The second lesson comes from Epictetus, a man who was literally born a slave and still became one of the greatest philosophers who ever lived. He taught that people are not disturbed by things, but by their opinions about things. Think about what that means for a second. When someone questions your life, when someone raises an eyebrow at your decisions, you feel uncomfortable. Not because of what they said, but because some part of you is seeking their approval. The moment you stop needing that approval, their words stop having power. You don't explain yourself because you don't need them to understand. Their opinion of your life is their business, not yours. Here's lesson 3, and this one hits differently. Seneca, one of the sharpest minds in Stoic philosophy, wrote that we suffer more in imagination than in reality. Every time you feel the urge to over-explain yourself, ask yourself, what are you actually afraid of? Usually it's not real danger. It's the imagined discomfort of being misunderstood or judged. But here's the truth. People are going to judge you either way. Explain yourself perfectly, and they'll still find something wrong with it. So you might as well just live your life without the performance. Stop rehearsing the speech you're going to give. Just move forward. Lesson 4 is about silence, and it's one the Stoics were obsessed with. Marcus Aurelius wrote that nowhere can man find a quieter or more untroubled retreat than in his own soul. Silence isn't weakness. Silence is strategy. When you're constantly explaining yourself, you're giving away information, energy, and power. The most grounded, most confident people you've ever met in your life. Notice how they don't scramble to justify themselves. They just are. They exist without apology. They speak when it matters and they stay quiet when it doesn't. That quiet confidence is magnetic. People respect it even when they don't fully understand it. Now let's talk about lesson 5, because this is where things start getting really practical. The Stoics taught something called the dichotomy of control. The idea that some things are in your control and some things simply aren't. Other people's perceptions of you, not in your control. Whether they understand your choices, not in your control. Your own actions, your character, your effort, your integrity, completely in your control. When you waste time explaining yourself to people who have already decided what they think, you're pouring your energy into something that was never in your hands to begin with. Redirect that energy. Focus on what you can actually shape. Lesson 6 goes straight at something most people never want to face. The Stoics believe that seeking validation is a form of slavery. Every time you explain yourself hoping someone will say, yes, you're right, you did the right thing, you're handing that person a little piece of your freedom. You're letting them hold a vote on your life. And the dangerous part is that it becomes addictive. You get a little approval and you come back for more. You build your confidence on a foundation of other people's opinions, and that foundation will crack under pressure every single time. Real confidence is built from the inside out. It doesn't need witnesses. Here's lesson 7, and I want you to sit with this one. Epictetus taught that it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. When someone criticizes your path, when someone questions why you made a certain choice, your reaction reveals everything about where you are mentally. If you immediately feel the need to defend yourself, that's a signal worth paying attention to. It means somewhere deep down you're not fully at peace with your own decision. And the cure for that isn't a better explanation. It's a stronger connection to your own values. Know why you do what you do, and the need to explain it to others quietly disappears. Lesson 8 is about walking the walk instead of talking about it. The Stoics had a phrase, live according to nature, meaning live in alignment with your true self, your reason, your purpose. When your actions are aligned with your values, you radiate a kind of quiet certainty that is more convincing than any explanation you could ever give. People don't follow people because they explain themselves well. They follow people who move with conviction. Show them who you are through what you do. That will always speak louder than anything you say. Lesson 9 is one Marcus Aurelius came back to over and over again throughout his journal. He kept reminding himself that the opinion of 10,000 men is worth no more than the opinion of one. Scale doesn't make something true. Popularity doesn't make something right. Whether one person misunderstands you or a million people misunderstand you, it changes nothing about your actual truth. Your worth is not a democratic vote. It's not something that gets decided by how many people are clapping or how many people are criticizing. You were already enough before anyone formed an opinion about you. And that brings us to the 10th lesson, the one that ties all of this together. The Stoics believed in something called amor fati, which means love of fate. It means not just accepting what happens in your life, but fully embracing it. The choices you've made, the roads you've taken, the person you've become, love it. Own it. When you genuinely love your own story, you stop feeling the need to have it approved by others. You stop explaining because explanation itself implies doubt. And you have no doubt. You are exactly where you're supposed to be, moving exactly in the direction that's right for you. And no one on this earth needs to co-sign that. Here's the thing that I want to leave you with before you go. Stopping the over-explaining habit isn't about becoming cold or arrogant. It's not about shutting people out or being dismissive. It's about self-respect. It's about recognizing that your time, your energy, and your peace of mind are sacred resources. And every moment you spend defending your life to someone who wouldn't understand it anyway is a moment stolen from actually living it. The Stoics weren't passive people. They were warriors, mental warriors, who chose their battles carefully and refused to fight wars that couldn't be won. So starting today, practice this. When you feel that old familiar urge to explain, justify, or defend, pause. Take a breath. Ask yourself, does this person's understanding actually change anything about my path? 9 times out of 10, the answer is no. And in that space, you'll find something the Stoics called tranquility. Not the absence of challenge, but the presence of peace no matter what's happening around you. That's the life that's waiting on the other side of this one simple shift. Now here's what I want you to do right now. Drop a comment below and tell me, which one of these 10 lessons hit you the hardest? Which one do you need to work on the most? Because I genuinely want to know, and I know someone else in this community needs to see your answer too. If this video spoke to you, share it with one person in your life who needs to hear this message right now. You never know who's walking around exhausted from explaining themselves to the wrong people. Be the person who sends them this. Hit the share button, drop your comment, and let's keep building something real here together.